Pickup artists are invading Poland, and it's a lot worse than you think. So a woman posted something on the Warsaw Reddit page saying, "I've been approached by more than 10 guys in Warsaw in one day. I'm a 24-year-old girl from Poland. I often go to my workplace in the center of Warsaw. And usually when I'm around Zloty Tarasy, I often get approached by a guy or two. I always decline politely and refuse giving my IG or phone number and move on. It's creepy having random guys stopping you on the street asking for your number, and it's not socially acceptable in Poland." This is actually something I've noticed too, and we're gonna talk about it in a little bit. But one day, I've been approached more than 10 guys, 11 to be precise, 4 on my way to work and 7 on my way back. And I'm just afraid that they might film me, as I found many videos later on YouTube where they are filming themselves approaching girls and record all the encounter. So the comments are really interesting. There's a lot of people saying that, don't give them any attention. In defense of these pickup artists, a lot of people sign up for these courses with good intentions because it's very difficult to talk to women in general. And I think that's why men are willing to pay thousands of dollars to go to these boot camps. And I do think there are certain cities in the world that are more okay for this kind of thing. For example, like Las Vegas, because it's a party city. Or for example, maybe in some of the Latin American countries like Mexico or Colombia, where it's a little bit more socially acceptable to do these things. But here in Poland and in Eastern Europe in general, the culture itself is not very friendly, right? So this is what I tell people all the time when people are asking me like, hey, what is Poland like? Is it a good place for dating? Is it a good place for day game? And I always tell them that like, this isn't really the place for that, because you have to understand that Poland, very similar to East Asia, is a very standoffish culture. People are very closed, people usually stay within their own groups, and it's even worse here in Warsaw compared to like some of the smaller cities. At least in the smaller cities, people are kind of like standoffish, but if they see you a few times, they slowly will open up to you. And once you break through the hard exterior of Slavic people, then you can develop a very close bond. I always think day game is very weird, because the idea of going up to a random girl who you don't know, she has no idea who you are, your intentions, and after a 5 to 10 minute interaction, you ask her for her phone number, maybe to take her out on a date. From a woman's perspective, I can see why that would be really alarming. If a guy went up to my sister this way, would I want her to go out with him? If a guy approached my daughter this way, how would I want her to react? And definitely understanding more about the Polish culture. They're very protective of their culture, of their language, but also their women. Chivalry is very important here. And from what I've noticed, a lot of people who have Polish girlfriends, they've worked together, or they studied together, or they have a lot of like history together, and they met them through mutual friends. I think a couple of years ago, my friends who have been here for a while said that they use Tinder a lot, and that was like a really big way for people to meet people. But I think a lot of the dating apps are dead now because of a lot of these pickup artists and passport bros trying to come to the country just for the women. A couple months ago, I made a video calling out this creator CB Alto, right? And how he goes on the street and tries to portray Polish women as easy for easy clicks and for views.
And it's with a black guy. And I think about his dick, like, okay, it will be big.
So the time they don't want a relationship with you. They just want to have sex or something.
And a lot of people agreed with me that these videos were distasteful, but a lot of people were like, what is the issue with this content? Number one, he's not a local, so he's trying to portray Polish women or Ukrainian women in a certain life for his own personal gain. But number two, when you constantly portray to the world that Polish women are easy and that they're whores, people are gonna come thinking that they're whores. So you're going to attract this certain caliber of man. And this is why I personally try to avoid making these kind of videos on my channel. This comment I thought was interesting. A girl I knew was part of it. There's a business in Warsaw in exactly that location, and coaches that teach men how to approach women. The exam part is to actually do it yourself. They wear headphones and glasses with the camera, and the teacher on the other side is telling them what girls to approach and what to say. She got paid to pretend that she was not aware of the scheme and flirt with them so they feel like they were doing good. So it's essentially they were a part of the scam. And this comment's like, that's the exactly kind of con loser who pays $1,000 on a course to hit on women deserves. See, I don't think these comments are fair, because it is very difficult to approach women and just like talking to women in general. So I understand where that insecurity comes from, and it is frustrating sometimes, especially when women are like lecturing men. I can't believe that men pay thousands of dollars just so they can learn to talk to women. Yes, this is what we do because we have to learn how to do it. Some people are a little bit more natural when it comes to making women feel at ease and flirting, but for a lot of men who didn't grow up with women or didn't have female friends, it's extremely difficult and they want the women, but they have no idea how to get there. So that's why a lot of these pickup artists and these coaches charge thousands of dollars trying to help these guys do these things. A lot of guys from UK, US see Slavic women as the ultimate traditional woman, think that just because they're from rich countries, girls here would drool all over them. It's so cringe. And that is the opinion of a lot of Western men. This approach actually does work in a lot of these smaller countries. I was talking to this guy. He's another YouTuber, I'm not gonna call him out, but he told me that he went to some of the smaller villages, I believe in Belarus, and he would actively take out his passport, American passport, and show it to the girls to try to pick up girls. It was the cringiest thing that I ever heard in my life, but this is the approach. And that's why a lot of American men specifically go to places like Colombia or Mexico and a lot of these poorer countries and try to use their money to pick up these women. And I'm gonna be honest, in a lot of places, it does work. But this comment I think is very telling. Polish women are everything but traditional, especially in Warsaw. It is not the 1970s anymore. And this is so true. After being here in Warsaw for a few months, I've come to the conclusion that I don't think this is the best place to find a wife or to date. Poland in general, the women are taught to be extremely independent, not depend on their man. There's a lot of history behind that with, you know, alcoholic fathers or absent fathers, and you know, I may talk about that in a different video. But what separates Poland from a lot of other Western countries is that they're in this middle ground between Western culture and Eastern culture, even though now it's pushing a lot more towards Western culture. Just because as a country learns English, especially with social media nowadays, and they have access to TikTok and Instagram, they're being fed a lot of these Western values. Here in Warsaw, because it's a big city, it's very international, this is where the most liberal people and the most liberal women are. I had a conversation with one of the most far left streamers here in Poland. Her name is Kasia Babia, and she is as left-leaning as any woman from the West that you'll meet. So she asked me a question. She's like, well, what's the problem if women want to be sexually free and expose themselves that way?
So what if the Polish girls are easy? They're having a lot of sex. How is that bad?
Because if you're portrayed as sluts to the world, then men will treat you as sluts.
And maybe you're okay with that, but I know from my sister or my daughter or my friends, I would not want foreigner men coming and treating them like whores. And this is why image and reputation matters. I'm still happy to say that this whole passport bro pickup thing here in Poland still hasn't really taken off as compared to some other places, maybe like Colombia and Mexico or Thailand or the Philippines, where this is a lot more prevalent. But they're definitely coming, because I think Slavic women are probably the most universally desired women and universally accepted as beautiful all around the world. And I think that's why a lot of foreign men fetishize Slavic women so much. But the Western idea of Slavic women is that they are submissive and traditional, and that is not true at all. In my experience, especially here in Warsaw, they're very independent and they're very ambitious. To be fair, it's not only foreigners that are doing this. I've been watching a lot of Polish content lately, and there's a lot of Polish content creators too that are doing this to their own women. So I don't think it's as bad as places like Latin America, where their global reputation is how much they sexualize their women. But I think it's definitely getting there. And this is why maintaining the image of being classy and not easy is very, very important. Middle Eastern countries have been able to do that well. Asian countries have been able to do that well. If your country has a reputation for the women having high standards and being classy, you're not going to attract all of these low caliber men. In the heart of Polish capital, groups of men are increasingly seen harassing women under the guidance of so-called pickup artists. Among them is Belarusian Alex Leslie, a notorious seduction guru wanted in Russia in charge of incitement. Russia's interior ministry put him on the wanted list. In Warsaw, he has already held trainings and posted photos of his students kissing women on the street. No clarity on whether those women gave consent. Yeah, I've always had an issue with those videos because these videos are so common in Colombia. And I really dislike that. I always found that content very, very icky. So I've been aware of this scene for a very long time, and I do have a lot of friends who are in that community. I know a lot of guys who are coming to Warsaw and to Poland specifically to date the women. Personally, I don't have a problem with people traveling to other countries to date and find a better partner, because a lot of men are coming to places like Poland or Ukraine or Colombia or these places to find a wife. But a lot of girls do that too. A lot of European women like going to Latin countries, for example, or to Spain or Italy, because they romanticize the way that those men, how romantic they are and how well they treat their partners. So I believe that this actually goes both ways. I think you just see it a lot more from the man's perspective, because there's an expectation that the man has to pursue. And because of that, that's why men are required to learn how to talk to women and pay thousands of dollars for these courses. So I don't think it's fair just to say that, oh, I don't understand how men can pay and do all these things for women. Everything that men do, we do for women. If women didn't care about us having a nice apartment or having a nice job or having high status, we won't care about any of those things. Men are totally happy with a inflatable mattress, a TV, a PlayStation, and a freaking kitchen. That's all we need. But we do all of these things for women. And I don't think a lot of women realize that. I'm not trying to justify these pickup artists because I think that a lot of this, like the filming people on the street and trying to tell the world that all these women are easy, I think that's pretty disgusting stuff. But from the other side, I wish a lot of women understood how difficult it is as a man to really be attractive to women and to know how to talk to women. So as far as I can see, I don't think Warsaw is a really good place to date, to be honest. I don't know, the culture here is very superficial. It does seem like a lot of relationships are transactional to a certain extent. To be honest, I personally would not recommend Warsaw for trying to find a wife or a long-term partner. I highly recommend you guys watch this video next. Share your thoughts down below, and I will see you on the next one.